Hello there and welcome back. Today we talk about the Deckard Dreams Mark II from Black Corporation. Let me thank Perfect Circuit because they sent me this unit to test, so I had the chance to play it for the last couple of weeks. And yeah, I would like to go through it and tell you what are my thoughts. Definitely this was something that I was really looking forward to play with. Is inspired, as many of you knows, by the Yamaha CS80. That is a synth that not a lot of people can play right now because the price on the used market is insane. And has been heavily featured in one of my favorite movie all time. That's why the name is Deckard Dream Blade Runner. So definitely with these two you can go in that kind of Vangelis sound, but there's more to it. It's easy for sure to fall into the nostalgia kind of vibe, but it's a very beautiful, let me say right away, it's a very beautiful instrument, amazingly sounding. You need to understand if that fits your workflow and if it's for you, but we'll go through that. So, what were you listening before? It was just, let's play it again, this sound here, through the Empress ecosystem and the Empress reverb. This is the sound without anything. This is a factory sound, so there's few interesting factory sounds. We can just go to some of those and are the more classic. These are completely without any effect. This was the one I was playing, that is really beautiful. So, what is the Deckard Dream? Deckard Dream is basically an 8-voice oscillator, poly synth of course. Each voice basically has 2 strips and are basically 2 synths in one, I would say, with the same controls. And it has a lot of feature for people that actually play with a keyboard, because it has a touch response that basically for each note you would have your own response with filter and with the velocity, etc. So what I'm gonna do here is like analyze it for my needing, and not being a keyboard player, or actually not having a keyboard, especially an MPE keyboard, basically you use just a percentage of this machine. There's a lot of controls in the panel that are actually dedicated for keyboard playing. So for me, I feel that I miss some of this part, but I don't have any way to play it right now. This is MPE, it works with MPE, so it has a big degree of expressivity, let's say like that. So we will go through what would be my use of it. So forgive me if I don't have a beautiful piano around me, next to me, and show you more details. Okay, let's talk about the structure of it, because at the beginning it's structured in a way that is not really similar to other synth that I have, and I had to wrap my head around it. So you have this small controller here, screen, where basically you can do all like settings and stuff and move to all the banks and factory. There's many banks and many sounds. The exact number, I don't know, but whatever. And then there's a panel button. Whenever you press that and PNL appear there, it means that you are, what you see is what you get. So as you can see, you have number 1. I'll call it strip, I don't know what is the right nomenclature. And number 2, there's not an actual manual for this thing, but it's structured around the CS80, so you can download that beautiful 80 manual, pretty hard actually to read, and what I did, I just tried to learn by using it and see some other tutorials. So again, I'm still new to this machine and not having a manual. It was just like trying to learn by doing. So you have these two synth control strip here, plus you have another strip down here with an LFO. This the fit would decide the octave, the general octave of your two voices, and then pitch control, touch response, that is of course the part that relates with your keyboard. This brilliance resonance is a filter basically. And then you have a keyboard control that basically is your key tracking, making your a sort of a cue along the keyboard, and then portamento glissando and a sustain control. So, but let's just try to put all of these. That doesn't work, and we can just analyze one of the sound generator. So you have a mixer here where you can decide to listen just a strip 1 or strip 2. So let's just listen to strip 1, so the top one, and let's see what happens. Here you have your sound generator, and you have a square and a sawtooth wave. And you turn on by just clicking up and down. So I have to reset everything because there's stuff going on happening there. So right now you don't hear anything. This is the thing. Okay, so right now you don't hear anything because no sound generator is on. So first thing, there's a noise one. Why doesn't it happen? Here we are. And then let's hear the sound. This is your square, and you have a pulse width modulation. This is your sawtooth. And then here you have a pure sine wave. This sine wave arrives after the filtering section. So with this control here, VCF level, you introduce all of this part to the sound. But when it's at 0, you don't hear anything. Then you can have your sine wave. So the sine wave, it's only happen after the filtering part, and it's going to happen through the VCA, that is this part here. So let's talk about the filter now. So let's bring you the mixer of the VCF level. And let's use the sawtooth. These two green things are low pass and high pass. So in this position, basically, you have the filter not doing anything. This one would be your low pass filter with the resonance next to it. And this would be your high pass filter. So in this way, you have, rather than your classic knobs, you have the slider. So it kind of takes a little while to understand and to figure it out how these things work, especially because for some of these slider, the higher value is on the top, and for some other higher value is on the low. So, for example, this one in the other filter, I would have expected that the top part would be with the filter open, but it's the opposite. And I guess, of course, it's modeled around, inspired, whatever, to the CS80, so that's probably what it was. For me, it's a little confusing. So once you set your filter, you have an envelope generator for the filters, your EG. this one, I wonder if I have a, I'm putting a, I'm putting a sequence on the octatrack so we can hear. With this, you basically work your way through the filter and make it give it an envelope and make it more interesting. So once you decide and you get your sound, this is with the pulse width. This would be the sawtooth. You can use both of them. You can introduce now your sine wave if you want and balance it. And at this stage you have the amplifier, a DSR. So you have a way to decide the attack on the setting panel. So it can be very long, I don't remember, but 10 seconds, I don't know, let's see. To go in the setting, you just press shift, then setting, and then here you have all of the things you can do. The MIDI setting, and in the time, edit, LFO max, so in this case you press enter, and now this is the LFO, sorry guys, not what we are looking for. Attack time, here we are. So in this case the maximum is 1 second, but it can go a lot. Ooh, very long. 100 seconds, so that's a lot. Interesting. So let's set around 5 seconds. Okay. Then also there's a way for you to use the voice in sync. For example, if you want a mono, you can go in again, shift. And then here you go in voice, you enter, and then you can put mode. It can be monophonic. In this case, monophonic is share all the voice, and then you can do the tune things or whatever. Okay, one thing that it's not the best for the synth is like the menu diving. It's kind of small. You have almost of your control in front of you, so that's great. But if you need to do some maintenance, or some setting, or change the voice assignment or whatever, it's kind of annoying how to do this. Same for the preset. You need to push a lot, and there's no way to name it, and if you need to do to the 61, it's a long way. Anyway, so you have decay, sustain, and release. You can also decide the sustain, and with this other control influence the length of the sustain. I am not really sure what. Of course, I guess this is related to voice 1 or voice 2. So in this case, I'm adding on the voice 1 a longer sustain, and then you also have a portamento, or a glissando. What's the difference between them? I don't know. The last step, it's you have another control that influences the sound of your thing, and it's a sort of EQ. It is also relating to the touch response, so it's again work well with a keyboard. Sadly, to make it work now using an octatrack, because I'm sequencing, the keyboard goes inside the octatrack and then goes here, but I would have to set up things that I don't know how to do to make this guy to receive all the MIDI. So again, forgive me, this can be way more powerful in the hands of a player. But basically this is about it, to create a voice. Then you can mix the other one. Now this would be what you see in a strip 2, and this is like 50-50%. At feet you can decide the bass octave of the strip. So for example, let's transpose this one. So there's 1, 2, 3 octave up, and then the fifth. And it's really easy to get this kind of brassy, typical sounds of the CS80, and it sounds huge. Of course, I would have loved to have the effect section with the ring modulator, with the chorus, with the delay that comes separately, and right now it seems that it comes only in a do-it-yourself kit. That for me basically is a deal breaker, because I don't know how to solder things. And I feel that this is a synth that sounds already great by itself, but when you start putting effects on it, this kind of stuff make me happy. It's very simple, but it's huge. It sounds very full, and it's that kind of sound. The risk here is, like, for me to get always into this territory of Vangelis kind of sound. But let's listen to some of the preset to have an idea. Let's play the same sequence. I really like also this kind of flute. And also it's interesting. It's out of tune. Ah, I forgot to mention one thing. This was the sound we were doing before. We have a sub-oscillator. It's very simple. It's not that there's a lot of possibility to use matrix or multiple LFO. We just have this guy. So these are the wave of the LFO and the speed, and then it can happen to the VCO, VCF, or VCA. With random and sample and over. I'm holding a chord here, so you can this case, listen. You have a detune, you can detune channel 2. Right now, yeah. It's beautiful. This is mostly about it. It's not a super complex thing. Once you understand the structure of the two channel, actually, now, because it's channel, it's pretty easy to get some sound going on, and it's very full and fat sounding, whatever you want to say. It definitely doesn't have the versatility and the complexity of the more modern synths, but that's not the reason to buy these things. Is definitely there's definitely a nostalgia factor, and you know, the love for that kind of sound that makes you want to buy a Deckard Dream. I will prepare another patch. Let's try some other patch, and then go back and we do the conclusion. Okay, so here is another patch of my Plucky sound. Okay, let's try now a pad. Here another nice sound. There's like a bass Plucky pad thing. We can engage some detuning. Some sub-oscillator in the VCO, so it created this kind of warbliness. Of course, you can decide the speed of the VCO and make it, or the oscillator, and make it slower if you like. The keyboard control, we didn't touch it, but basically you can decide the brilliance on the low notes, high notes. In this case, counterintuitive, because if you put it down, it's more brilliant. It's another way to filter if you want. And it's beautiful. This kind of pad is the one that I would record to build foundation for other tracks. Well, I guess I wanna jump to the conclusion. Definitely the Deckard Dreams is not one of a kind, but for me, it's one of a kind, because I don't have anything that sounds like this. It's an expensive instrument, definitely not for everybody. It's well built, it sounds great, and it definitely have a nostalgia character. I think it's not for everybody because, you know, first there's the menu diving that it's not the best, and the structure of it at the beginning was a little confusing, and still to me sometimes is counterintuitive. Again, is not the fault of Black Corporation, but it's just the design they followed. If you are looking for that classic sound and this kind of brassy, beautiful, huge sound, this is probably the synth for you. Beside that, I thought it was way bigger. It's kind of light and small, and it's the same size as a Octatrack, so it's can also be racked, so it's a pretty portable instrument, and it has a lot of controls. If you are looking for something that has a lot of LFO and complexity in the sound, and the creation that you can do maybe is not the perfect match, but once you pair this beautiful sounds palette you can create with a Deckard with pedals and effects, then is where I feel you get the best out of it. And of course, if you have a keyboard, if you play keyboard, you would have for each key, whenever you press with the aftertouch and with MP, the control to modify a lot of setting, so that I feel that this is an instrument that in the right hand has enormous expressivity possibility. So I end with this beautiful pad. I'm gonna say goodbye. Thanks again, Perfect Circuit, to send this unit. And yeah, I forgot to tell, if you want to support, just subscribe, buy from the affiliate link, or become a Patreon. Rather than that, I will just say goodbye and enjoy this wavy, beautiful pad. Bye bye.